Hello and welcome back to my channel for this memory plan with me for the week commencing September 6th. On this occasion I'm using a beautiful kit from Olive Planner Co. This is a Victorian based group or business, and her product is relatively new to me. I've just used them in my last spread and this one, and they're a recent delivery, and frankly they're absolutely stunning. Her foiling is perfection, and the design and everything about this kit I really love. So join me as I lay down the base and then we'll get into the weekly planning. I'm also going to add in some of these lovely icons and decos that I received in a very recent delivery. So thanks for joining me. Starting at the top of the page on Monday, I just wanted to mark here that it was a dear friend's birthday. We'd caught up on a Zoom the day before, but this was actually her birthday. A really lovely lady, and the birthday of my good friend Libby. I used one of the boxes from the kit. I've used a happy birthday sign, a gift, and I think that was about all I used from Stella Beau Sticker Co. And then across the top I've just put a couple of lovely drops and wrote on there that this was Libby's birthday. In the top right hand corner I've used a little bit of a rose or a floral deco with a leaf and popped it in there just to add a little bit of something extra. Underneath that box I take a quarter box from the kit, and on this I'm just going to mark that we had another vaccine update through from the health department this morning. So I've used a small computer icon from the Pretty Pink Co, and as I said, the quarter box from the kit. And then while I was looking at that particular entry above, I decided I wanted to add some drops. And so I've added these little drops from the Olive Planner Co to the top. And while it's not quite in frame yet, you will see that in a little while. The reason I've marked the vaccine update is because there's always a great deal of paperwork that comes with them. Usually they're preempted by some sort of a media event the day before. And so the public are in a bit of a frenzy, even though we don't have the details through into the clinic at the time. So we do the best we can troubleshooting with the information we have available to us. We don't always action all of the media updates as soon as they come through. We're inclined to be a bit conservative, and we're comfortable and would rather err on the side of being conservative. So far through the many months of this pandemic and now these vaccines, we've discovered that that seems to be the best option and has given us the best outcomes. I mentioned earlier I was going to use a few pieces from Olive Planner Company, and so underneath that full box I've put one of her fancy, I call it a fancy divider. It's a sheet of dividers, and they're quite lovely. They're all a little bit different, but they're quite elegant. And I've just used that to fill a little bit of white space at the bottom of the page. Then using a half box from the kit, and this is one of the half boxes with some pattern around it, I've just marked on here that we had a secondary encounter with a positive COVID case. So as I mentioned, we err on the side of conservative, so we'd rather be safe than sorry. And those staff that were working in the building on the day that that occurred headed off to get a COVID test just to make sure that we were all fine. We were pretty happy and confident that we were, but it's always best to be sure about these things. So that was what happened that afternoon. It was an exodus of quite a few staff from the building, probably not half, but potentially a third of our staff needing to go and be tested and wait a few hours for those results to come back. That is something quite impressive at the moment. I'm finding that the tests do come back very quickly, which is very good because it creates minimal disruption to our business, and I think we have to be grateful for that in such difficult times. And to the side of that particular half box, I've cut some of the deco from the kit and just added that to the side. And then the piece that I've cut off I'll probably use later on another box. And popping down, last thing for the day underneath that box there is a small quarter box, or a quarter box, the smallest box of the kit. And I'm just popping that down to mark that there was a meeting at 8 o'clock this evening. There was enough going on with everything down the bottom of that particular entry, with the bottom washi and the box beside it, and even the girl to one side, so I didn't feel that it needed any more stickers there. Just noting that there was a meeting this evening at 8 o'clock, which is usually including myself, our head nurse, and our doctors, our partner owner doctors. So with Monday out of the way, it's time to move across to Tuesday. So on Tuesday I've used another box from the kit, and this is one that has got the corners cut off, a decorative box, and just a little hint of silver foil. The silver foil in this was lovely. It wasn't too much, it wasn't over the top, it was just perfect, which was very nice to work with. I've just marked up on there using one of my own stickers on this occasion that I worked from home. That was largely to do with the fact that I got my tests done and I was still waiting on the results. I was sure at this stage they wouldn't be far away, because they've always, on the many other tests that I've had, they've always been very quick in coming back to me. But at this stage I still hadn't had them the following morning when I needed to head off to work at 7:30. So I spent this morning, which turned out to be the rest of the day as well, working from home. So I'm just taking a flag from the kit, which is a nice long flag with a couple of silver lines across the top, and I'm using some foliage again that came in this delivery, and I've marked on there that and while all of this was happening, one of our other staff members had been exposed to a level 1 site in her particular area, which was away from our clinic, and she was sent into isolation. As it turned out, a day or so later, they downgraded that site to a level 2, and she was able to return to work after she had also come back with a negative swab. So it was a busy couple of days with lots of COVID testing for our group, and hoping to dodge something serious. So heading down underneath that flag, I've just used one of the pretty patterned washi strips that were in the kit just to break up the boxes, and then I've gone underneath there with one of the half circle scallops, really pretty in that lovely lavender background with the floral on it, and just marked on here that I had received some happy mail. I'm in the process of getting a few little bits and pieces to clean up or to change around my craft room, and some of them are storage boxes, and just trying to minimize and maximize my space and my capacity, and try and keep things as tidy as possible, but also have them looking nice. So this was just a sequin box from Amazon, very reasonably priced, and that came in on this day. So I've marked that with my little envelope, one of my favourite envelopes. It's my own stash, and a happy mail script from Mum and Me Handmade Designs, and that was how I finished off Tuesday. So once Tuesday was done, I've headed across onto Wednesday, and from that same flourish sheet from Olive Planner Co, I've added one to the top of that page in this case, and then underneath there I just noted, again using about a quarter, or it's actually a half size box but a bit fancier with the corners painted there, and I've marked that I caught up on a lot of emails this day. The first couple of days of the week was spent sort of following up again. Once these mandates come down from the health department, you have to change your policies and make adjustments here and there depending on what things are. And so while doing those, my emails grew somewhat. So I spent the morning catching up on those. And again, I've used another Olive Planner Co. So this is a desk scene. It's quite a cute desk scene. You could use it either for a craft room or an office, depending on what you like. It's larger than your average icon, but it's still quite lovely. And I've used that with a little bit of deco from the kit as well. As I was moving down the page, I thought I would like to take some of the plain area from these boxes and just give a little bit of a silver sparkle to add to, there was plenty in the kit really, but I just thought I might jazz it up a little bit more. And because I'd just received these lovely Olive Planner Co sheets, and this particular group of banners was on there, I decided to use them on the blue box for a little bit of extra bling. Heading down under the full box, I've taken a third box again from the kit. There's plenty of boxes in this kit you won't want for anything. There's quite reasonably decorated and foiled, and those with special corners, and just a lovely variety. Plenty of them that are also fairly blank, so that you've got plenty of room to write as well. So great selection of boxes in these kits. I can see myself getting very used to them. They're really quite lovely. So I've used a little bit of deco there to put that branch across the top, and or branch or leaf, and I've put on there that I changed phones. Now the reason for doing that was that these particular announcements that are made really send our phones into a frenzy, and our poor girls have worked so terribly hard right through the 18 to 20 months of this pandemic, and we just could not expect them to keep going the way they have been. So we had a chat with the phone technician, who's a pretty creative guy and always really helpful, and came up with a good message that would actually come on to the phone system before the patients got to reception, to try and direct them to our online bookings and just take a little bit of a heat off the team at the front desk who were being swamped with inquiries. And as it turned out, this was a really good move, and the message was effective, and immediately we saw a little bit of relief in the amount of calls that were coming through to the front desk, and made it just that little bit more manageable, which was the aim. So that was a pleasing result. Underneath that phone sticker entry, I needed to add there that I had a doctor's appointment at 3:40 on this day, and I used a couple of items from the kit, a couple of the layering pieces, and I popped on there a stethoscope from Christine's Paper Studio sampler, which has been, again, that was also a recent delivery, and since I got it I've been using it quite a bit, so that was quite handy. And then the last entry of the day on the Wednesday was that I ordered some paper crown planner printables. To one of my favourite paper crown planner and print petticoat bandit do some beautiful printables. They're incredibly reasonable. I'm always impressed with their pricing. It's so fair, and you can print them as often as you like once you've purchased them. So to me, they're just a huge win-win. And Paper Crown Planner on this occasion had come up with a couple of new designs, and I made a note on there that I had gone over to her website to pick those up. Now that the first half of the week is complete, it's time to head across over onto Thursday, and I've used another half scallop from the kit. They're so pretty. They're in, they were not overly decorated, so this one's got just a lovely little bow, little gold bow on it, which is perfect. It really doesn't need any more than that. And then across the top of it, I've used some of the florals from the deco sheet, and a little sprig of foliage in silver foil from the Olive Planner Co sheet, and marked on there that it had been a productive day. The problem when you have a new policy or a new set of rules come through for some changes, major changes to our vaccine rollout, it sort of distracts you from your day-to-day things, and I don't often feel quite as productive when having to deal with those things. So it was nice to head into work on Thursday with most of that behind us now, and working forward and towards just getting these numbers through the door and getting as many people vaccinated as possible, so that we hopefully can return to some sort of normality sooner rather than later. With that scallop sticker having taken up such a large area there, I've just come underneath it to break it up using one of the washi pieces from the kit, that pretty floral that is predominantly in the pinks and blues with that silver splatter across it. And then I've gone underneath there and used another flag from the kit with a piece of a layering sticker and a phone from Christine's Paper Studio, and just noted on there that some of the changes that we'd also made to the online bookings via the message on the phones was really making an impact on reception, and it had finally given them a little bit, well, there was no break, it was still constant, but at least it wasn't as crazy as it had been. We were getting to the stage where there were just that many calls, our lines could not cope, and people were just simply being cut off. They weren't even able to get through to the phone message because it was just so frantically busy. So that was easing a little bit, and we could certainly feel the benefit of that in the clinic on this occasion. So from Christine's Paper Studio, I've used a little television there to mark that on this evening I really felt the need to just relax with something pretty mindless, and I decided to watch the movie Cinderella, which was a musical version. It was a little bit different to what I've seen before, that's for sure. I heard a lot of people say they weren't big fans. I can't say that. I quite enjoyed it, really. I found it relaxing. It was, you didn't have to think very much. It was really quite sweet, and I didn't mind the singing in the musicals. I thought it was pretty light-hearted and a bit of fun, so I actually enjoyed it, and so I marked that down. Then moving across now onto Friday, again I've used another one of those flourishes from Olive Planner Co. that came on that sheet. That's a really beautiful sheet. I can see that it's not going to take me long to go through those at all, and I will need to get some more. So they're really quite beautiful. They're elegant, and they don't take up a ton of space, but just enough to add a really lovely flourish to the page. And on this occasion I've popped it right at the top, and then underneath I've used another decorative box from the kit, roughly a half box, with a little bit of foliage again, and some silver foliage from Olive Planner Co.'s little deco sheet that she has, and marked on there that it had been busy for everyone. So between the staff trying to field all the questions from the general public, and the rest of us trying to write policies and keep up with the legalities and the governance, and then the nurses providing and performing with the doctors the various vaccines. It was just crazy is not the word for it. It was ridiculously busy. But nevertheless, that's what we're here for. This is what we need to do, and everybody's working hard on making that happen. So moving down underneath the full box, it was time to mark another family birthday. So there's quite a few now, from now on leading through to the end of the year, and they start to really ramp up. So this one was one of my daughter-in-laws. This was Veronique's birthday, and I've used the circle that was with the kit. It's a pretty lavender coloured circle. Also used some of the pretty deco. The whole kit, everything about it was just beautiful, so it wouldn't have mattered what feature you used. You really weren't going to be able to go wrong with this. I don't very often get the opportunity to use the circles. I tend to leave them till last, and I'm really glad that I did use it, because it was really very pretty. Colour of it was just delightful. And I've also headed back to my favourite sort of birthday group of things. I love Stella Beau's birthday sampler sheet. It's got banners, it's got cupcakes, parcels, all sorts of really good things to use, and it's got a couple of very pretty scripts as well. So on the circle I've used those things that I've mentioned just now. Then I also added another couple of drops from the Olive Planner Co. set, and then you can just see me there in the corner going through the Stella Beau Sticker Co. sheet to come up with something to put there on Veronique's birthday sticker at the bottom of the page on Friday. And then last but not least, I'm not really into horror movies as such, but I do love a good Dracula movie. I don't think that says anything too horrible about me, but I've always quite liked them, even from when I was young, or young enough that my parents would allow me to watch something like that. But on this night there was a Dracula movie on, and when I saw it come up on the menu, I thought, I might just stay up and watch that. And Friday night, knowing I don't have to get up early the next morning for work, means that I can watch something a little bit later into the evening. So that's what I did. I relaxed with a good Dracula movie and thoroughly enjoyed it. Wasn't a ridiculously late night, but it was very relaxing. So with Friday's plans behind me, it's now time to move across onto Saturday morning. And Saturday morning I had a sleeper in, which I thoroughly enjoyed after the late-ish night and the really, I think more so the very busy week rather than the late night. But it was very relaxing and very pleasant, and there's not an awful lot that we can do or get up to go to on a Saturday morning in lockdown, as it continues after week, and so a sleep in at least gives me the opportunity to catch up and get ready for what's ahead in the next week. So after I'd marked my sleep in, which was using a little bit of the washi from the kit again, and I'm using one of my favourite little groups of stickers, which is the little sleep in from Mr. and Mrs. Mint. Isn't that a pretty piece of washi with the beautiful little flower on it in the purples? Really stunning. This was such a beautifully balanced kit with the purples, the blues, the pinks. They work so nicely together. And that's the little Mr. and Mrs. Mint sticker set that I was talking about. It has the little pillow with the sweet little face on it and a little script that says sleep in. And that also is a printable. She has got some really cute little doodly type printables in her shop. I'm not normally into the doodle ones, but I do love that. It's cute as, simple but cute. And so that was my sleep in for the morning. And then I had the paper crown planner that I had got earlier in the week, so I needed to download those, and that was what I did. And in the process of doing that, I realised that somehow I inadvertently stuffed up some things on my computer. Just a one click of the key and you can find yourselves in trouble sometimes, and unfortunately it's exactly what I had done on this occasion, and I was just devastated. I'd lost a lot of silhouette files. Anybody that has a silhouette or any of the sort of the graphic design things knows that it can take you hours to design certain things, and a few of my fonts and different frames and dividers and all sorts of things that I've just designed for my own personal use. While they're not particularly valuable to anybody else, I'd invested quite a bit of time in them, and unfortunately because of something I'd done, I was not able to get those back. So that was quite devastating for me. Not devastating in the sense of the world, because the world is dealing with a lot more difficulties than me losing some files, but they were precious to me and things that I like to do and enjoy, and I was disappointed to have lost those. So heading underneath that small flag, I've used a longer flag from the kit in the pale blue with the silver confetti on it. I've used one of my favourite Crafts by Thaowie filming icons. I haven't seen a better one yet. It is just so perfect, that tripod. And I've used part of a floral from the florals as well. And just noted down on here that I filmed my August 30 plan with me. It's just so nice to be able to write down those plan with me's, knowing that I'm sort of up to date and things are on track again. It's a lovely feeling to be back on top of things and organised again. And I was sort of just taking in the fact that I had done something silly with these files and what I was going to do to try and recover and regroup. So just on that one, I've noted down the filming. Then underneath there, I've gone down with a half box from the kit, this time with that pretty sort of purple damask lace design around it, and laid that one down to note that I had the computer issues and there was lots of work gone. This was what I was still trying to figure out. Actually, one of my sons also decided to jump on and see if there was something we could do to recover them, and he did a really great job of recovering as much as he could, but the nature of the files was such that they couldn't be opened even though we were able to recover them. So at least I knew what I needed to work on to try and get them back at this stage. And I must shout out in this point that Paper Crown Planner, Print Petticoat Bandit and Shabby Art Boutique, who I get a lot of inspiration and printables, and who also consisted of a few of these files, were just amazing. I emailed these ladies to try and get some access to different things, try and get their opinion on how to rebuild, and they were I just can't say enough good words about them. They were helpful. They jumped right in. They didn't hold back. They They were just so resourceful in helping me get back to a point where I'm really happy again, and I've rebuilt so much of what I had lost and had thought I was not going to be able to do. So I'll never be able to thank them enough for their help. And what was potentially a bit of a disaster for me turned out to be an exercise in some really terrific people stepping up and just offering me help. Don't know these ladies particularly. I order from them. We have the odd email, but they certainly didn't owe me anything as such. And yet, as a customer, I could never fault their service. So not only do they provide amazing creative spirit, but they are also really wonderful people to deal with, and I really want to thank them for all their help. Now heading across onto Sunday, it's time to finish off the week, and I just did mark up the top there actually with one of the half boxes, or it could have been 2 washies. No, I think it was a half box. Was a little bit busy, but nevertheless I've written on there lots of help from Print Petticoat Bandit, Paper Crown Planner and Shabby Art Boutique. They were just sensational stars. And so it was then that I started to rebuild my files. So I did have a few different things planned for the day, but all of that got ditched. I wanted to start rebuilding these files and finding an alternative to my backup solution, which again, both my husband and son stepped in to offer some suggestions there, and I started to rebuild the files. When I concentrated and focused on it, it took a while, but it didn't take quite as long as I thought it was going to. It all went pretty smoothly, but partly because they were so generous in leading me to the right places. So underneath there, that damask box, although it was lovely, was perhaps a little plain. So I've added some drops and a flourish from Olive Paper Co. just to make that a little bit more sparkly. And the little decorative box that I've used above that was just to mark that I'd started to rebuild the files, and I popped a bit of deco from the floral deco sheet underneath that box. Then finally moving down underneath the full box, I've used the third of the half scallops in the kit, and I've used another flourish from Olive Planner Company on the top of that, which I thought was quite pretty. Those flourishes really are beautiful. There's quite a lot of flourishes around. You wouldn't think, I mean, really, how many could you need? But they're all different and they all fill a different need, which is nice. And just wrote on that scallop that I had a call with one of my sons. His little fella's been struggling with some skin irritation, and they were concerned about him and they were wanting to take him. They had an appointment with the specialist, and I wanted to see how that went. And fortunately, it sounds like they've managed to figure out what's going on with him and come up with a solution that was looking quite positive at this stage. So that was really good news. Very good news to hear after what had been a pretty tiring week, and then a bit disappointing when I had to deal with my file situation. So I've used another piece of that lovely decorative washi and the last of the decorative boxes down the bottom there, just to mark that there was good news for little Ari on this occasion, which meant good news for everybody. We're all very pleased for him. And that finishes off my plan with me for this week. Thank you very much for joining me and sticking through these plan with me's, as we're rather limited with our entries during the never-ending lockdown that Melbourne seems to be in. I've heard that we have been the largest locked down community anywhere in the world, which is not necessarily a record that I'd be thrilled about. But anyway, it is what it is. Let's hope we're all keeping safe if we're going to have to be locked down. So I'm just showing you the stickers that were left over. Not a great deal, but plenty for me to use in some more spreads, certainly in my weekly day-to-day planner, and just giving you a little wiggle to pick up some of that pretty silver sparkle that came with this kit. As I mentioned earlier, I was really happy with it. New kit to me, a new designer come sticker maker, and she is really good. I can see that this is going to be the beginning of something dreadful. It's always so hard on the bank account when you find these lovely sticker places that do such beautiful work. And this one, this Olive Planner Co., is definitely going to be one of those. And it's just so lovely to find someone, so crafting with such a beautiful product right on your doorstep. We're very lucky. It's a very creative little country and lots of clever people. So that is something that I'm also very grateful for. So thanks again for joining me. Hopefully I'll see you in the next plan with me. I hope you all stay safe and well until I see you next time. Bye for now.